Uncertainty. May 2026 going into the rest of the year. A lot of uncertainty. What's going to happen to interest rates? What's going to happen to inventory? What are sales going to look like? What's Bitcoin going to do? What's oil going to do? What's gold going to do? What's going to happen in the geopolitical? A lot of unknowns. But here's what I do know. I do know what we're seeing across the board. Although uncertain, we're seeing a lot of consistency. May 2026 versus May 2025, a lot of the same thing that we've been seeing on the highest level possible. Active listings down double digits year over year. Sales down double digits year over year, and median prices increasing. Well, how can that be? If there's not a lot of inventory, but there's not a lot of sales happening, aren't there unsold homes that are bringing down prices? Yes, there are, but the homes that are selling, most of those are great homes, priced right, prepared for sale, and selling at a premium. Many of those multiple offers and over asking because of the fact that we still have a weakness overall in inventory. So the homes that are sitting, that are on the market, that are not selling, most of those started overpriced because their neighbor sold or one down the street, but they're not comparing apples to apples, condition, updates, and other. They're sitting, and then they've taken price adjustments. But overall, on the highest level, prices are continuing to increase for the homes that are selling. Active listings, St. Louis County, down 11% year over year. And when you compare 21 to 26, they were down about 12%. St. Charles, very consistent, down 14% year over year. St. Louis City, down 9% year over year. Jefferson County, down 9% year over year in active listings. However, when we look at sales in St. Louis County, down 16% May over May, down 27% when comparing this May to May of 21. St. Charles, consistent, down 14% May over May, down 28% when comparing 21 to 26. St. Louis City, down 22% May over May, and down 36% when comparing May of 2026 to May of 2021. Again, consistency, Jefferson County, 9% May over May, 30% down when comparing 26 to 31. Overall pricing, up 4% in St. Louis County year over year, 4% St. Charles year over year, 9% St. Louis City, and 3%. And then when you go back to 2021, you'll see St. Louis increased 29%, St. Charles 38%, St. Louis City 24%, Jefferson County 33%. So we've continued to see some big increases. What do I see? What do I see going into July, August, September? Although I did say a lot of uncertainty, I'm going to do my best to prognosticate. I think we're going to see a lot of this same story. I believe that inventory is still going to be weak. I believe sales are still going to be soft. And I believe that for great homes, prices are going to increase. Interest rates right now, they fluctuated over my last 3 months between 6 and 6.75. They're somewhere in the low sixes now, but again, that's day to day, week to week, month to month. I don't see these going into the low fives at all. Remember, there are sellers. The reason we have such weak inventory is there are sellers that are not prepared to sell in today's market because they're rate locked. They're at 2 and 3% interest rates. The thing that's going to unlock them is when we see interest rates in the 4%, maybe low fives or other, but I don't see getting there anytime soon. So I think we're going to see a lot of the same thing. The other thing is I continue to talk about 2021, 7 million homes sold in the United States. This last year, so May 2025, there was about 4 million homes sold in the United States. That was a low watermark that nobody projected we would be below, but we are below it. We are seeing that through the first 5 months, we are below 4 million pace. So we're about 3.8 million pace, which is just an incredible low watermark when you're looking at this. And by the way, pretty consistent on some of these active listings and new listings that are down in the 30% range. Yeah, those amount of sales We're also seeing across the board where, for example, St. Louis City was down 36% between May of 26 and May of 21. St. Charles was down 28%. St. Louis County was down 27% when I'm comparing 26 to 21. So very consistent when we're talking about the 7 million to 4 million or under. Again, a lot of that, we're going to see a lot of the same thing. If you're a buyer, you have two options. You have to be prepared for those great new homes that are on the market. You're going to be buying those in many cases, multiple offers, bidding wars, over asking. If you want an opportunistic buy, focus on those that have been sitting on the market where they're a motivated buyer, seller, but they've been sitting on the market, taking price adjustments because many of them just started overpriced and set. If you're a seller, either price it right for your condition, your location, your wow buts, your upgrades, or upgrade, put the best finishes in, and you'll get premium. So again, you have to, it's a lot of advice that you're going to have to be listened to, but you're going to have to price these right regardless. And if you price it right for the market, whether it has no updates or massive updates, the market will respond positively. If you overprice a home, especially if it doesn't have updates and other, it's probably going to sit. It's a very finicky market right now. If you have any questions about buying, selling, investing, value of your home, reach out to us. I love it. I'm free to give you any advice you want.